Merry Christmas Eve and happy holidays to everyone out there. Today, I want to talk about my top 10 predictions for the next year, basically from today to Christmas of 2023. We'll look back on this in a year. I'll be able to pick out how many things I said were correct. Now, some of these will have to do specifically with crypto, some will have to do with the macro, some will have to do with stocks. Now, I do want to say that these are just my assumptions, my predictions. So you shouldn't make any moves in or out of different assets because of what I say. Also, I will be giving my Bitcoin price prediction for 1 year from now, and I'll put that later in the video. And I'll put timestamps underneath the video in case you want to skip around from one prediction to the next. But I would still suggest staying through to the end. Now, of course, there are links underneath the video in case you want to sign up with moomoo. You can get some free stocks, just deposit $100 on the platform. There are also some other links in case you want to trade on Margex or on BitGet or something like that and trade on leverage for crypto. Now, only do that if you're an experienced trader. But let's get into it. So I think number one, inflation will continue to fall. We've already seen PCE come down. Actually, today we saw numbers come in, and PCE was at core PCE was at 4.7% from 5% last month. PCE in general was at 5.5% from 6% last month, and I think we'll continue to see CPI and PCE continue to come in lower and lower, and we'll have a significant drop by next year. Now, it's hard to give an exact number to it, but I think it will be substantially lower than it is here today. Number two, I think the Fed will soften their stance, their hard stance on inflation. I think they're speaking really tough right now, saying that they're not going to stop until they think that we get to a rate that's going to continue to stay around 2%. I think they will soften up. I think they're trying to talk tough so that way the Fed doesn't get out of hand and start rebounding like crazy and then have inflation go up again. I think they're trying to stay, like I said, very hard on that, very, very hawkish until inflation comes down more substantially. But I think they will soften up their stance. And number three, I think they will actually cut rates towards the end of next year. Even if it's just 25 basis points, I think they'll level off maybe early to mid next year. They'll see that inflation continues to come down, and then we'll actually see them start to look at cutting rates and probably cut rates by the end of 2023. I would say even just 25 basis points. Number four, I think stocks will rebound and be higher than they are today, specifically the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ right now is $10,454. A lot of tech stocks have just been beaten down all year long, whether it's Facebook going from $400 per share down to 90, or whether it's Tesla going from, I think it was right around 400 as well, down to 121 today. And a lot of other companies as well being slashed 50%, some of the top tech companies in the world. The fact is a lot of them have cut costs, have cut headcount, and I think they'll be more profitable than people expect over the next year, even if we do face a recession. And I think the market will rebound from here. I think we've been beaten down a lot this year. Number five, I think Tesla will execute well over the next year, and it will be up significantly, meaning I'm guessing around 100% from today's price of $121. So that was today's low price on Friday. I'm recording this, and I think that Tesla has just been beaten down so much on so many different, or for so many different reasons. One, a lot of people think that their demand's not there. Two, they think that Elon's spending too much time at Twitter. Three, Elon Musk has had to continuously sell shares of Tesla to fund Twitter. And I think Twitter will be in a better spot in 2023. And a lot of the fear around Tesla will be gone. They'll continue to ramp up production. They'll probably have to lower the cost of their cars or the price of their cars, but the EV tax credit should be a big boost to help their demand as well. Okay, now moving on to crypto. Number six, I think DeFi will become more important in 2023. Now, it's going to be hard to gauge exactly what more important means, but I do think that people will rely more on it than they do this year, especially with so many of the centralized exchanges going down. Some people will probably move over to DeFi just because it will be safer to use than these centralized exchanges. Now, like I said, it's going to be hard to gauge exactly what that means. I'll probably just use social sentiment, what I think has happened throughout the year. But I do think that DeFi is going to have a bright future, and people want to hold on to their own future in crypto these days. Number seven, I think crypto won't move much until right before the stock market starts moving up. So I think it could be several more months before we see the market start to rebound. I don't know exactly the timeline. I'm not trying to be that nitpicky, but I'm assuming that Bitcoin will kind of just move sideways. To be honest, it's moved sideways a lot of this year and then just bounce down and bounce down and bounce down, like, or just falling through floors. But I think it will be pretty boring. And I think that we will start to move up probably right before the stock market moves up, because that's what we've seen pretty much all year round. Number 8, I think less exchanges will go bankrupt in 2023, and we'll have less black swans, as people call them. I think so many exchanges have gone down this year, whether it's Voyager, BlockFi, Celsius, FTX. There's been so many, and I think most of the companies that made it through this far are probably okay and probably have mitigated risk to a large extent. I don't think Binance is going to go down. I never did. I made that clear even in my Binance videos where I was talking about being careful about Binance and taking your crypto out of Binance. It was more just because there's no point in keeping it on. There's no benefit to it. So I think less exchanges will go bankrupt, and I sure hope less exchanges go bankrupt. And then number 9, I think Bitcoin dominance moves up to 45%. And if I have to put a number on it, I'd say plus or minus 2.5%. We're right under 40% now. I don't think we'll get to the Bitcoin dominance that we've gone in the past. And by moves up to 45%, I mean like in a year from now. I'm not saying that we can't go more or less between now and then, but if I had to put a number on 1 year from now, I'd say 45% plus or minus 2.5%. So like I said, I don't think we will move up to numbers that we've seen in the past, because I think a lot of people will just hold on to smaller cryptos. And I think there's more of a use case than ever for smaller cryptos compared to Bitcoin. But I still think we should move up from here, and some cryptos will bleed over the next year, because a lot of cryptos that don't have a lot of funding will just move away from the space. They'll just take their money. A lot of the team leaders will just take their money, and then they won't post anymore, and people will sell out and move it into Bitcoin. I also think that as time goes on, people will just, even the bigger cryptos that have funding, people will just take money out and put it into Bitcoin. And then the last thing I want to talk about, Bitcoin's price. Of course, this is a shot in the dark, but I looked in my last video on the channel at the previous bear cycles, and my assumption is if I have to put like a plus or minus $2,500 on it, and I had to put a price that I think Bitcoin will be at in 1 year, I think it'll be around $26,000. Again, between 23,500 and 28,500 if we're doing that plus minus. The reason for that is I think we'll get lower bounces than we've had in the past, because we've gone 170% bounce in 2013 from the bottom, and then in 2017 we got a 100, or maybe it was 2018 because that's when the bottom was. We had 120% bounce. I would expect more like a 70 or 80% bounce from this recent low. Now, if we fall lower yet, then all bets are off. But I think that we'll move up, but a little bit less, especially with all the risk factors throughout the year. This year, a lot of people are worried about recession and war in Ukraine, and a variety of other things, including the Fed raising rates. So I would expect us to slowly start moving up throughout maybe mid to late next year, then get up to about 26,000. And then I think, this isn't one of my assumptions or one of my guesses, but I think 2024 will be a very good year for crypto. Now, let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. We'll look back on this in 1 year and see how many of these I got right. If you're watching this in about 1 year from now, let me know in the comment section so I make sure that I make a follow-up video on it. Thank you so much for watching, and Merry Christmas again, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.